Bill Clinton's lead was growing again.
This morning, I want to express our continued...
Today, George Bush, President Bush, was back in the White House, where he warned Iraq of a new no-fly zone, where Saddam Hussein's planes could no longer operate.
I want to emphasize that these actions are designed to enhance our ability to monitor developments in southern Iraq. These actions are consistent with long-standing U.S. policy toward Iraq. We seek Iraq's compliance, not its partition.
A few hours later, he flew down to Louisiana, as he had to South Florida 2 days ago, to personally inspect the damage from Hurricane Andrew. He had already declared both states disaster areas. As the president himself might have put it, message, I'm taking action.
We're making available today $10 million to create 5,000 short-term jobs for Floridians to clean up and restore public services in the aftermath of the hurricane. This grant will be dispersed by the Florida Governor's Office and may be used to employ workers left without jobs from the hurricane.
In both areas, the gap between a sitting president and his challenger is wide. A challenger can issue no ultimata, disperse no funds. All he can do is express support.
I support this action by the United Nations allies, by the British, the French, and with the concurrence of the Russians and the Arab states. I think it is an appropriate thing to do.
All he can do is express sympathy.
I talked to the governor of Louisiana today and expressed my sympathies to him and my support for him and for Louisiana in their efforts.
But holding office during a crisis has liabilities as well as benefits. Even without an election looming, action or inaction can always be seen through a political prism.
President, you heard the cry in 4 more years. Would you be here if you weren't in an election campaign right now?
Yes, I would.
When Vice President Dan Quayle visited the Bay Area just after the 1989 earthquake, the San Francisco mayor called it a publicity stunt. When the president waited 8 days to visit South Carolina after Hurricane Hugo, he was criticized for the delay.
He could have enforced a lot more help sooner if he had seen it sooner.
Tomorrow or within 2 or 3 days, there's going to be another national story in this political campaign that's going to occupy all of our thoughts. And the people in Florida will still be digging out.
Moreover, crises can be politically disastrous. In 1969, after New York City was paralyzed by a savage snowstorm, Mayor John Lindsay had to apologize to the voters in order to win re-election.
I guessed wrong on the weather before the city's biggest snowfall last winter, and that was a mistake.
A decade later, when Chicago's vaunted political machine failed to clear the streets quickly after a snowstorm, Mayor Michael Bilandic did lose his job. And today's headline promises can sometimes become tomorrow's disillusionment, especially given government's sometimes tortoise-like pace. For example, nearly 3 years after the Bay Area earthquake, the Federal Emergency Management Agency says it has dispensed just over half of the $364 million it allocated to government and nonprofit institutions.
The problem will come if the federal government drops the ball in helping those people who have no homes and no food and no cash and no insurance and all the rest of the things that we have grown to believe that the government takes care of in natural disasters.
As for Governor Clinton, a senior campaign advisor said today that it would serve no purpose for the governor to visit the site of a disaster area simply for the sake of showing up. If he were invited in for a specific purpose, the aide said, then he would go. Of course, this advisor acknowledged if the campaign felt it was important for Governor Clinton to be seen in such an area, it probably would not be that much of a problem to get the Democratic governor of Florida or the Democratic governor of Louisiana to invite the Democratic nominee for president in for a visit. I'm Jeff Greenfield for Nightline in New York.
You may want to get a pencil and paper ready. We'll have a telephone number for you when we come back for those of you who may want to help those in need in Dade County, Florida. Back in a moment.
If you buy dry dog food, there's something you should know. They're pretty much the same. Right, Jake? Most of them start with ground corn as the #1 ingredient, even a fancy brand like Science Diet. But Purina One Dog formula is different because it starts with chicken. Chicken, corn, wheat, and other wholesome ingredients provide high-quality nutrition and a naturally good taste dogs love. To me, Purina One is the only one.
Purina One, also available in new lamb and rice formula. Some full commission brokers are finding more and more ways to charge more and more fees, even annual fees on IRAs, just for the privilege of doing business with them. But not us. At Charles Schwab, we offer the no-fee IRA, and we guarantee that you'll never pay an annual fee for the rest of your life. So if you're tired of finding new fees every time you open your statement,
maybe it's time to come to Schwab.
Painting your house shouldn't mean a second mortgage. Just get to Sears' Whole House Paint Sale. Pick up Sears' Best Weather Beater Exterior Flat, only $15.99 a gallon. Easy Living Interior Semi-Gloss or Satin finishes and matching bright white ceiling paint. All only $13.99 a gallon. Get to the Whole House Paint Sale today. I'll get Sears. And save money.